I have only played Sly Cooper 1 on the PlayStation.
PlayStation? Thought it was on
Yeah,
PS2.
or PS2, whatever.
Yeah.
I forgot what it was. The only reason I played it was because my sister couldn't play it, so I had to play it for her. I
And
thought it was an okay game.
It's just too
Candy.
casual for video games.
Is Sly Cooper made by the same people as Ratchet and Clank?
No. I think Sly Cooper made by... It's not made by Insomniac.
It's made by Sucker Punch, I think.
Is Sly Cooper that like I thought it was an okay game, but I didn't know it was popular enough to make like a movie.
It had several sequels. It's like one of
Yeah.
the key Sony franchises.
For
Is
PlayStation
it
2.
really?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Because to me, it's not that interesting.
Good thing I'm already recording.
God, nothing but complaints today.
Fuck, dude, I'm just giving my opinion.
That's
not.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of news recently from Nintendo. Well, yeah, they're considering acquisitions and mergers. Recently after the huge...
Considering murders. Maybe that guy. Maybe that guy.
Anyways, so what else? Oh yeah, there was after the recent loss they've been taking. I think Satoru Iwata got a massive pay cut, something to compensate for the losses.
I gotta go for like 10 minutes.
You gotta go?
For like 10 minutes.
All right.
Okay.
So they're adding microtransactions onto World of Warcraft.
Depends. Let me see. Let me read this.
I don't like microtransactions to begin with.
Yeah,
It depends on what they're
It
for.
Yeah.
Good. Yep.
Enhance the gameplay experience.
Yeah, I thought it would be good because like it's a good like basis for the
Okay.
topic, and then we can like discuss like whether or not there are any games we think that actually implement them well, and like what we think the general problem is with them and stuff like that.
Okay.
The only games where I think that implement them well is when it's involving things like completely optional things that are not required to actually do well in the game or that will change how you play.
That's
Something
the
like
thing.
cosmetics. That's the only thing I will care about for microtransactions. This is the only thing that I will think is okay.
Okay. That's the thing though. There's nothing in World of Warcraft at the moment, and nothing that I think they would ever implement into World of Warcraft that wasn't purely cosmetic. Or like the one thing that everyone's talking about at the moment is the experience buff. Which,
Wait, Ryan.
What?
Okay, you're going in depth.
Oh,
Save it.
fuck. well, okay, but for their two new games, Hearthstone and Heroes.
Hearthstone. Buy
Yeah,
cards.
Hearthstone is fine. I don't think that's bad at all. You play the game, you can still get all the cards. I did it in the beta myself. Heroes will probably just be skins, cosmetic again. You won't. Bloody blah.
I can't wait to play Heroes of the Swarm.
That's the same acronym, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's why it's really confusing. Heart of the Storm.
But
I don't
like,
fucking-
yeah, World of Warcraft doesn't have anything that isn't vanity at the moment. Like, it's all mounts, and I think they have like 3 helmets. That
Do any of the mounts have any special stats or nothing?
No, they have no special stats. They're the same as any other mount. They just look fucking awesome.
Well, okay, I can. Vanity stuff is okay. Stuff that's
Yeah,
just
'cause-
purely cosmetic, I don't mind because it doesn't change the gameplay for anybody else. It's
Exactly.
just if you want to pay more money to look awesome, go ahead.
Yeah, that's
Trigger.
exactly
Yeah.
what World of Warcraft is doing right now.
I think they were also thinking about licensing their first-party characters to other companies so that they could, have other like their characters in other games. Like I don't know, like a Mario guest fighter and like the next Street Fighter or something.
Wait, did it say who they were planning on to merge with?
No, nothing like that.
I was listening to the Giant Bombcast actually, and they were talking something about this. They were saying that people were accusing Nintendo of saying that they were in an interview that they were going to start making like mini games and games for the phone, and then soon after that article was published, Nintendo like released an announcement saying like, no, we're not.
Yeah. I remember that stuff. Like, cause the press likes to spin off. Like, they really like to take.
Yeah, it's like
Nintendo
Nintendo's
is-
taking a new turn. Oh, they're making iOS games. They're like, no, we're not
Nintendo is
doing
going
that.
Nintendo is going iOS. Nintendo is doomed. Oh my god.
Nintendo's not going Apple. That's for sure.
Nintendo is doomed. Nintendo is dead.
This is probably just what the press looks at all day. My gosh, would you look at the time? It's Nintendo. It's
Nintendo doomed?
time.
Yes.
It's Nintendo.
Oh, we
It's
gotta
Doom.
start without Corey. Oh, I'm sorry. Kick him from the fucking group.
Jeez, Ryan.
I hold grudge.
Be more than a grudge. There was a lot of stuff coming from like a recent business meeting.
The Dynasty Warriors Zelda game, though, like,
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Bring that in. I don't mind. Someone invited me to a party called Don't Lose Your Way. I was like, I think I know what you're trying to do here.
oh my gosh, game's almost done downloading. Watch me like play this game while like we're talking, and we're just like, oh yeah, fuck, game's awesome.
That's one of the topics. I mean, let us know if there's any games you've been playing.
Give me 10 minutes to play this game.
I actually can't think of a game that has a good water. Well, an RTS game that has a water level.
That's why it was a joke. I can't imagine that.
Call of Duty Ghosts.
Actually, I don't know. Is there like an RTS like version of like a submarine or ship battle kind of thing? Like, is it over water ever? It was always online.
Technically, Red Alert 3 is basically all in water because
you could,
like
Yeah.
you could,
Yeah. See,
Well,
you
not
got it.
really.
I knew it. I knew it.
half really because you can.
you could
build
argue
almost
like
all your
Age of
bases.
Empires has water combat.
Well, a lot of RTS is water combat.
Yeah.
Like the first two Red Alert and then 3,
StarCraft
which like
doesn't
have
have water combat.
like 3 in Red Alert 3, like half of the units can go in water, so it's and you can build in water. I'd say the
I
worst.
tried to think of one because I heard this topic and I was like, "That's a good topic," but can I actually think of one? And I was like, "Yes, I can." I was
Mario
like,
games. Games that have water levels.
I'd say the worst one would be Metal Gear Solid 2 because it's so bullshit. You have to swim underwater in like a broken down facility. You have to go through dodging mines. Then you have to go backwards with a little girl on your back who can hold her breath for less time than you. And there's a time limit.
I always thought the water controls in like Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask were really, really bad.
Kind of, yeah.
I didn't like those water controls at all.
a lot of people complain.
That's why
Though they improved it with Majora's
Twilight.
Mask and
they
Zora.
improved a lot more with Twilight Princess also.
Oh yeah, with the Zora suit.
Yeah.
Were you just distracted, Shaker, or did I wake you up?
Huh? Oh no, I was playing game.
Play game, no
Dude,
response.
I came home, I fell asleep. It was like the hardest. It was the hardest thing in my entire life. Okay, I had to force myself to sleep from 7 to noon because I knew if I didn't do that, I wouldn't be awake right now. And like, I was just sitting there for like at least 45 minutes trying to force myself to go to sleep.
Just like squeezing your eyes, like, do it, faggot.
Because that's why I wanted to like slightly postpone it, which ended up being okay for me.
So we figure out what we're doing. So we're talking about Nintendo going to hell, Sly Cooper, no Candy Crush, the evil world of microtransactions, Thief blows donkey dick.
Wait, I thought they
What have you guys been playing?
I thought they trademarked the word candy.
They
Yeah, they
trademarked
did.
both Candy and Saga.
Well, I think Candy went through, but they're fighting for
Yeah, they didn't get Saga,
No,
How the fuck?
bit too.
and they were trying to like stop Banner Saga from getting anything, and they're like, what?
Yeah, King, the guy who's in charge of Candy Crush, was like, "We're just trying to save the world from evil, guys."
It's pretty much another.
It's like that's
another
literally what he
Zynga.
said.
That's literal. It's just like what Zynga was doing with Vil. You can't have Vil in your Facebook games.
What is the Banner Saga? It's all these games that are just like.
I believe it's just called the Banner now.
The Banner Sega.
That'd be way worse.
Rip.
Yeah.
The only picture I've seen on Thief was the one that Shaker linked, saying you cannot start a new game because you don't have an internet connection.
Yeah, I saved it just in case. I might add it into the video.
Always online. We learned nothing.
Well, I'm not exactly sure how accurate that is, because maybe it just had to do with the open, not the open, the press release they had. They didn't want anybody playing the game, illegally, if it got leaked or something. I don't know.
But always online is just a great idea. What are you talking about?
Especially for single-player games. Especially single-player games.
Sam Shitty.
Okay, you guys ready?
No, Tibby, get out of my room. What are you doing? Hi. Go bug everyone else. They're home now.
You guys ready? Not Timmy, not Timmy!
Get out.
Best characters. Fuck.
I closed my door.
Oh, that's hilarious. Hayao Miyazaki says that anime suffers because the industry is filled with otaku. Fucking weebs.
Like Lily.
Yo, are we still on for that? Are we doing that today?
Yeah.
What do you mean? You're
I
not
don't have any
recording right
alcohol.
I'm getting it.
Okay.
now? You should be recording right now. Have the little pre-talk. Because listening to the other one is boring the hell out of me.
Unrelated podcast.
Okay, unrelated podcast.
Make it exciting! Jump in the air!
Sorry. Hi. And here's Shaker.
1, 2, 3. Welcome everybody to the Unrelated podcast. I'm your host Phil with an F. Today we have 2 co-hosts and a special guest, unlike last time. We have Corey.
So wait a second. Is that PHFIL? Or...
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And we have Shaker.
So is that
And
Phil,
Ryan.
Ryan with an R!
I feel like I'm being neglected.
That's the whole point of this podcast. Before it was me, and now it's you.
I have to introduce myself like that, otherwise no one ever spells my name right.
I
I say my name is Phil, they're like PH, I'm like, you already screwed up.
When they try to get him to sign a contract, they got to make sure that his name's right now.
Dude, you're not the name. You're not the person whose name is Shaker.
Oh, this is Shaker.
Everybody has to confirm. Is like, is that really how you spell it? Is it not spelled any special way? It's Shaker.
The Baker.
Is the E after the R or before? Okay, so today we've got a bunch of stuff that we might not want to talk about, but let's try anyway.
So many topics.
Shaker, do you want to?
You go ahead.
Want me to start? Fine, I don't mind. So the first thing I found that I was interested in was the Sly Cooper movie. We got a trailer for it, and they have a website up already, but the website is literally just a poster with a bunch of like labels of brands on there. But the trailer, from what I saw, we got a date for when it's supposed to come out. I guess 2016.
Well, that's not really a date.
Yeah, we have 2 years, I guess, estimated. Whenever.
It may or may not come out before the World of Warcraft movie.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
And yeah,
delayed.
Well, it says right here in the description, CG animated. If you can't figure that out from the trailer, I mean, it looks good, and it's the writing and like the voices sound authentic. That's good. I mean, they didn't replace. It doesn't sound like they replaced that, and the writing sounded pretty good. I mean, I actually thought the trailer was kind of quirky and clever, and if they can pull off the same kind of charm that people felt when they were playing the games, I mean,
but
that
they
sounds
got
like it could be
Bentley's
fun.
glasses wrong.
They got
wrong. You can see his eyes. Just throw
Have you guys played Sly Cooper? Because the only one I've played was the first one on PlayStation 2.
I played it, but I never owned it. I had friends who owned it.
I had played the first 2 back when I used to own a PlayStation 2.
I don't even remember which one I played. It was one of them.
Because to me, the movie seems exactly like the cutscenes like that the game had.
And were those funny?
Well, it from what I remember, I don't know. It might have had a different sense of humor back then, maybe. But it seems pretty authentic to the game to me personally.
Well, I think it looks, like you said, pretty authentic. Except I'm a little skeptical on the designs. They look really different compared to the game, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. But I don't know. They strike me as just looking rather odd, really.
Do you think? I don't know. I wonder if they'll have like references and like little things that they're gonna try to add in there to appeal to the
The
for the
casuals.
gamers. Well, no, the ones who have played it before, and they're like, "Oh, I get that reference," and other people will just be like, "Okay, things are happening," and they'll just like they'll let it go, like it won't be weird.
Well, that is one way they could go with the humor.
Like I like maybe make it look like a certain part of the game is like kind of like, I mean, I just screwed up. I meant a certain part of the movie looks like it's like kind of like it was in the game, or like maybe they'll be in an area that represents a certain level, like an iconic one or something like that. I don't know. That could be neat. Because I'm excited. Because I was gonna say I know more about the Ratchet and Clank movie than I do about this, but technically I don't, because I haven't seen anything but text regarding the Ratchet and Clank movie. And what I do know is that, I mean, the same people are animating it who animated the cutscenes, I guess, in that game, in those games, and then the same voice actors are going to be in it, and the same writers. So it sounds like it's going to be good, but
Well, they had the teaser for the Ratchet and Clank movie. The little announcement teaser there.
yeah. So that was good.
Hmm.
But
Do you
like,
think
this looks like it's actually like a piece of content that could be in the movie, and I thought, like, I was like, oh, if this is what it's gonna be like, just an hour or an hour and a half of this, I mean, I could watch that. It sounds like it could be fun.
Do you think this is going to be a new trend in video games where they like to make CGI movies?
Well,
Because
it wouldn't
with the
necessarily
Ratchet
be
and
a
Clank
bad thing.
movie, yeah.
It sure be better than a lot of other video game adaptations. It
I
looks
mean,
like
it's
it might
better
be
than
better.
those live action Mario movies, am I right?
Hey man,
Well,
hey, don't
What are you a
diss
fan?
Mario and Luigi Mario. Well, since now they're doing two different, Sony exclusive games like Ratchet and Clank and Sly Cooper, I'm wondering if they'll actually go on to make a Jack and Daxter movie. Seems like it might be the next
Is
logical
that
step.
a popular franchise? Because
It
I
is pretty
think
popular,
not.
yes.
Yeah, it is. I mean, for Naughty Dog, I mean, after Crash Bandicoot and before Uncharted, that was where all of their focus was pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And I could imagine that being pretty cool actually, because you started off in like this really cool tropical kind of world, and then as the games progress, you work your way into like these cities with these kind of political struggles, and like if they wanted to, they could make those stories pretty like funny and gritty at the same time. I I don't know. I might that might be a good idea, but I guess it would depend on how they would write that all together. So they do like each movie as like one of the games, or they do try to do it all in one. I don't know. It seems like it'd be a lot to do all in one.
On to other news. There's a there's been a recent meeting with Nintendo's board, and a lot of stuff happened actually. Uh, One of the biggest things that happened was that after the recent loss of the Wii U, Satoru Iwata took a huge pay cut from, you know, to help with
From his
these
pay.
trailers. Yeah,
Gosh.
a huge pay cut from his pay.
And that's probably due to the fact that the Wii U hasn't been doing too well.
Yeah, actually, they cut their I think they cut their sales forecast by quite a bit. I think their original forecast was about 10 million or something like this.
Something like, yeah, I think I remember reading 9 million, and they got like 1/3 of that, right?
Yeah, they just got about over 2.4 million, I think, in the second year. Well, in its first year. Well, that's not true. About 2.4 million over the last holiday.
Surprising.
Yeah, but there's
Well,
been a lot of other news coming out of Nintendo. One of the recent controversies actually was that since Nintendo has been discussing about smartphone development and what they've been doing there, a lot of news outlets have been crying out saying that Nintendo is going to suddenly move to iOS for their games or putting mini games there. But recently they've also denied these claims, saying
Yeah,
that
they made a statement after the article came out in the same day. I think that was just like, no, we're not doing that.
it really would hurt them if they did, because a lot of people would say that Nintendo would be better going off multi-platform if just to introduce people to their other games, but
Yeah,
that really doesn't help because Nintendo's only thing is their games. If they can't sell their games exclusively on their platforms, then why even bother buying a Nintendo platform?
It's true. I mean, if Nintendo was making iOS games, I mean, that would be... I feel like that would be the worst state that they could get to. I feel like there's a few things that's going to happen before that ends up being the case.
It's actually, I remember they have already started to dabble a bit in iOS development because there is an official Pokédex app on iOS devices.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think like people were mostly concerned that they would like start putting in a lot of effort into like fully fleshed out games that would just be
Super Smash Bros.
Without controls on an iOS. Yeah, like just like a game like an adventure game or something where your thumbs were over the character the entire time and you couldn't see anything.
That was my biggest gripe about like any of these Assassin's Creed iOS games was like.
Did you actually buy them?
No, I never buy them, but I saw like reviews and all this stuff, and there was like, well, you have to like wave your hand over it, and they just look really bad.
Well,
I can imagine maybe it wouldn't be so bad on a iPad because you've got more room, but like still, like the fact you don't have controls is annoying.
It was more so the older ones. Like there's the new one that just came out, but I have not seen anything.
Resolutions and the frame rate's probably not the best. But I don't know. I really don't know how powerful an iPad is. It's good enough for watching a movie, so at least it can go 24 frames.
I don't really want to play games on my phone, but that's just me. So,
like, I don't mind.
A lot of people
I don't mind games that are like that have like quick matches or like quick solutions, like that take about a minute or so. Those are fine because
like Candy Crush.
Candy Crush really it takes me maybe sometimes less than a minute to get bored of it. And I saw someone on the bus the other day who had an iPad, and I saw them playing Candy Crush because I see everyone playing it. I'm like, oh look, another person playing Candy Crush. And as I was going to leave the bus, I had to walk past that person, and I looked, and I said, why does it look different? Oh, that's actually Bejeweled. Like, I can't even tell the difference.
Well,
real hipsters play Bejeweled. That's how it is.
I play Star Jeweled.
I played Bejeweled.
I sucked at that game. I tried, and it's like you have to find out what machine beats the other machine, and what unit beats the other unit, and I had to look at this list, and I closed the list, and I instantly forgot, and I was like, well, I keep losing. I don't know why.
Back to Nintendo. There's also been a lot of other rumors about them creating a new console called the Nintendo Fusion. Now,
yeah, I heard about it. I mean, it would. I guess the idea is that they would try to implement the Wii U with the 3DS, like in a way where they would like try to take the audience that they have that is loyal based on like the success of the 3DS and try to merge them into the group that has really not existed for the Wii U.
I don't really know because that's not exactly what the thing was. It was basically.
I know, that's just an idea.
The rumor was saying it would be a successor to the Wii U, which sounds really weird considering the fact that the Wii U hasn't been out for even that long. Although it's not that hard to understand that they'd be in development of the new console now, because that's usually how development cycles go. They release their console, and they start thinking of plans for their new one. But
when did the Wii U come out?
Came out 2012.
It's been 2 years?
Yeah. Well, not exactly 2 years.
He has the Wii U, and he can't even figure out how long he's had it.
I got this thing on launch.
Oh yeah, I
guess I got it yesterday.
It just turned 2014, so.
Yeah.
Aside from the release date for this thing coming a bit too soon to be real, which was I think 2015 or 16, the specs of the console itself seem very, very, very odd. The CPU on board says it would be like an 8-core processor, which sounds a bit like overkill for a simple game console.
No, it's gotta be the best.
But is it a simple game console, Shaky?
Maybe not. Maybe it's an all-in-one media experience.
Seamless switch between Mario and football.
Mario football. Now at your fingertips.
Other weird specs about the thing was that it had like graphics that were like more than twice on par with the PS4 and Xbox One, or how they are currently. That it was going to be coming out with 2 different versions, a discless version and a like with 300 gigabytes of hard drive, and another one that just had a disk but 60 gigs of hard drive, which seems really weird. That would have a bunch of like Bluetooth and like USB 3.0 and a bunch of other things on top of it that just seemed really, really weird for a Nintendo console of all things. Especially
Nintendo, the most
Well-
hardcore gaming system you could ever buy.
Yeah.
Well, that's basically where we're going, though. A lot of people are buying games digitally now, so it makes sense that they would make a console.
But 300 gigs? That's it?
Uh,
Well,
I don't know. It depends. Can you put a hard drive in it? They did that for the Wii U, where you
Yeah,
can put
with
your own hard drive in it. So
Yeah, my
That is
PS3 can even do that. It's not that big of a
so
deal.
I don't see why that's that big of a deal.
Yeah, it just seems that the specs
Should
seem
be.
rather ridiculous, especially considering that Nintendo has never been one to push for hardware that much, because unlike Sony and Microsoft say, they realize that they shouldn't be selling their consoles at a huge loss, which I honestly admire them for doing that and not having to stick a bunch of features like, pay for online to help compensate for, loss on hardware.
Yeah, the PlayStation 4 doesn't even have CD capability because they didn't want to license that out in every machine, because that would cost them tons of money to do that for every machine. And I think the Blu-ray feature, once you activate your account online, so you activate your machine, it actually it starts. They allow it to work because they authenticate it, and then they just so that way they know how much they have to pay per activated system as opposed to every single one manufactured. So they save money that way too.
Well, even then, the console itself is losing about, I think, $60. Like it's a $60 loss on the thing. So
That's not that bad compared to the PlayStation.
you mean PlayStation 3?
Yeah.
On launch, yeah, sold for $599 US and made $300 loss.
Jeez.
Yeah.
You also have to understand the fact that it had a mini PS2 inside of it, so that kind of ramps the price up a bit.
I had a friend who had the original PS3, and it had like so many features that mine doesn't. I was like, it looks the same, but it's got more USB ports. It can play every PlayStation game ever made. Like, what the hell is this? Mine can't do any of this.
Yeah, that's where the price drop comes in, when they get rid of those features.
Yeah,
Well, they
It's
had,
like-
they had to cut it to save the losses. So
it was too bad. But yeah, he was somebody who had a theater home in a theater room. It was like had a popcorn machine, big ass projector in his basement, soundproof walls. It was like this. You can afford a PS3. Okay, it's fine.
Anyways, I want to mention this because this was something that I've been kind of on the edge. With Nintendo,
Shadow?
no, with Nintendo merging or planning to merge with other companies, a game that they've already shown was the Hyrule Warriors. There's the Zelda Dynasty Warriors.
Yep.
I've kind of been on the fence because it looks like it could be interesting.
Well,
No,
it's not
it-
exactly.
As long as it doesn't take itself seriously, yeah, that'd be a fun game.
Well, none of Toy's Dynasty Warriors have ever been really taken seriously.
Well, that's
But-
what I mean.
It'd be weird for them to merge or acquire Toy because they're not really that strong on Nintendo systems. I actually don't think there haven't been that many Dynasty Warriors on Nintendo systems.
Whenever I think of Dynasty Wars, I think of Xbox or PS2.
was there even Dynasty Warriors on a Nintendo console?
I think there might have been.
I only
Right.
remember them for the PlayStation.
But
I
in
just
terms
think
of
it's... Sorry.
in terms of what Nintendo like merging and acquiring, it seems that they've been close with a lot of developers recently, like Platinum Games. Because they're now releasing two different exclusives on their console, Bayonetta 2 and Wonderful 101. So it wouldn't be that unrealistic. Although I'd assume that they want to stay independent because a lot of them are former Capcom developers and probably don't want to join up with another big publisher.
Yeah, Platinum is not gonna be bought out by Nintendo. They won't allow it.
I just think that
After
it's
what happened to them before, they're like, no, okay, we're doing things on our own. We're gonna be fine.
I think it's a very strange combination of games, though. Like, you have the Zelda
is?
series. They could have used the Fire
Dynasty
Emblem.
Warriors DS Fighters Battle for the Nintendo DS,
Well,
released
there
in
you go.
2007.
There you go.
Oh,
Of course,
okay.
it goes for the DS, of course. But I don't.
I just think
Nintendo seems to
Fire
be
Em-
making a lot of weird jumps.
Yeah.
They're really kind of just like, it's like a little boy who's been left at a theme park. Like, Bob, Bob, where do I go? It's so big here.
Like even Kirby, the new game Triple Deluxe, on the Japanese cover, Kirby is angry. He's never been angry in Japan before. He's always been
Really?
super happy. Yeah, every time it goes over to the American market, whenever they move the game over, they always make him, super angry. They draw the little eyebrows. He's always been this happy little character in Japan, but with Triple Deluxe coming out, they actually have him angry on the cover.
Hey man,
It's like they've gone into this little edge mode.
Yeah.
hey man, Kirby's serious business.
Which is weird because Nintendo of America is usually the ones who kidify everything. Because like Nintendo of Japan will just be like, okay, here's all these games, and then something like Earthbound comes to America, and like they take out all of like the gritty topics in the discussion and make it like, I don't know, like they try to make it more PG, but then they still leave in all the weird gameplay. So the fact that it's like focused towards kids, yet they still have these like really trippy, messed up battles that like are supposed to be representing some kids' nightmares as like a final boss. This is like, okay, yeah, this is fine. It's like it actually makes it a lot more creepy.
But that's the thing. Kirby is this pink ball of cute, so they have to make it angry to make it less PG.
It's like the two Nintendos always have to like try to go for the opposite of their games. It's like, okay, you're making a very hardcore game, let's make it really kid friendly. You're making a kid friendly game, let's make it hardcore. Eyebrows.
That Kirby Air Ride game, he was really angry in that one.
Jumps from everyone to teen because they drew on little black eyebrows just to make him look angry.
Another thing that came out of Nintendo in the recent meeting was that they've been discussing about licensing their characters to other partners, which, like that Hyrule Warriors that Ryan brought up, is an example of one of them, with them licensing a franchise to a different company. I'm wondering what else could, be born from this, partnership. I'm not exactly sure what else they actually could do. If they're just licensing their different characters, maybe we'll see some of their characters in maybe a new Capcom fighting game, like we've recently seen Mega Man and the new Smash Bros.
Yeah, that actually might be neat. They could, I guess that would mean that maybe some of their characters might be ported over to games and genres that you might have never expected them to be in before.
Watch Pokemon be like this next big RPG and something.
Already a big RPG.
Yeah, it's a big RPG, but like you put Pokemon in
good
another
one?
game.
The next one, the next big one.
Yeah,
Pokemon.
You combined it with some other games.
Silvers, they'll just have they'll release another Pokemon game. Like this is the new big one.
That actually reminded me of a rumor that Pokemon was actually going to be there was actually going to be a new Pokemon fighting game. I think it was called the rumor said it was called Pokken Fighters. They actually showed there's a little video clip of, I think it was the two Pokemon, Lucario and Blaziken, in what looked like a 3D fighting game environment. It seemed rather interesting, actually, and I'm wondering...
Unless
kind of like
for Smash
DBZ Budokai, those kind of games, 3D?
A bit more like the Tenkaichi games, if anything.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I don't know, and the name almost sounds a bit like Tekken, and Nintendo is also in partnership with Namco Bandai. They're actually helping them develop the new Smash Brothers, and they also made that exclusive port of the latest Tekken game. I think it was Tekken Tag 2 for the Wii U.
So what you're saying is Blaziken confirmed for Smash Bros.
No, Lucario is.
Lucario.
Yeah, Lucario is, but
there's only room for one fighting Pokemon.
Until someone makes a mod for Mewtwo.
Well, that was already done by Project M. But if they actually make the new Super Smash Bros. More of a competitive game, more like Melee, then maybe there won't be so much of a need to have Mewtwo in.
Nah, people will put the characters in anyways. They want to put Naruto.
Why would you put Naruto?
Well, Naruto in a Smash Bros. Game, that'd be fun.
Interesting.
They already want Goku, and they want ridiculous things like Ridley or King K. Rool.
Isn't that already a game? Naruto and Goku, like, Brian, you showed me that.
J-Fighters.
Yeah. It's just a bunch of anime characters that fight each other. The guy from Gintama and, like, I don't know, all the popular animes right now. Luffy from One Piece.
Yeah.
It just looks like the biggest mess of a fighting game.
It
Mine's-
looks like it could just be stupid fun.
Reminds me a lot of the Jump Superstars and Ultra Stars games for DS. Never got ported to US though, so never really
Yeah, I
had a chance
don't
to play
expect
them.
J Fighters to come to America, which is kind of sad, but
It's a fighting game. I'm sure you could figure out the menus. Select, fight. Okay, go. Just learn. You gotta learn the combos on your own though, because you probably don't know what those symbols are.
BXXYA does something. Alright, let's do this. That's essentially how everyone played fighting games when they were younger.
Yeah, essentially just. Does this do anything? No. Does this do anything? No. Does this? Oh, sweet. Okay, keep doing that.
Just do it over and over.
Aw, crap. This guy actually knows combos. Damn it. I'm never gonna play online again.
Stupid online tactics.
So the next topic we had is a submission by Corey. So just generally microtransactions, but a good way to start it off was a story
entertainment.
a story that came out due to Blizzard. Apparently, they've been focusing a lot on trying to strategize their sales based on microtransactions now. They've initiated a whole team, and they've been trying to get recruits to, I don't know, work their way around making their games more.
They want a new director and manager for their new microtransaction team.
Yeah, so I guess, are they trying to? Do you think they're trying to go with new games like Heroes? Maybe that's why, or do you think they're trying to implement this into all of their games?
No, it's all of their games.
yeah.
Yeah.
They've already added in World of Warcraft. They added an in-game store to buy pets and mounts with microtransactions.
But that was basically the online store. Like, the online store was the exact same thing.
Yeah, well, it's still microtransactions.
Yeah. But they're all
pushing,
vanity
they're pushing
items.
for it really hard now. But they
I
don't,
guess because they realized that the old system that they were making their money off with WoW is just not very popular with people anymore.
no, it's fine. They still have 7.5 million subscribers at $15 a month. That's still a lot of money. It's just they like money. They've seen how
They realize that they can make even more.
yeah
now.
they see how well free to play microtransactions works. Like you see with League of Legends, like they know that they can make a bunch of money with this, so they're trying to push for it really hard.
I don't see why they wouldn't. Like,
Well,
as
yeah,
a business
they
standpoint, yeah.
they want money. That's the only reason they're doing it.
Who doesn't want a nice top hat for their elf?
Well,
Well,
you
see,
can actually buy hats too.
Well,
It's
see, there's
Of course. What? That's it, right? If you don't have hats, your microtransaction system is just broken. That's the first thing. Any strategist is gonna come in there. It's like, well, you don't have hats. You gotta.
well, and TF2 is safe in that regard.
Then TF2
It's the Valve business model.
they just they rose that up. They're like, hey guys, hats, and then so much money.
Well, see, there's a thing. I'd say microtransactions aren't really they're not necessarily bad, honestly. For say if it was League of Legends model, I wouldn't really care. I wouldn't
Sell
say
out.
that's actually that good. But if it was say something like other games where you have just microtransactions for cosmetics, which from what I understand, that's the current situation with World of Warcraft right now, that a lot of the online store things are just vanity objects, things that are just purely cosmetic.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's fine, honestly. If people just want to pay money to look awesome, then I'd say go ahead. But the real problem, I'd say, is when you're paying for things that are unlocking content or like stuff that's different or stuff that affects the gameplay.
Yeah, that seems to be an issue. Like when you have a pay-to-win model, essentially the people who can dish out more money for their games, the more wealthy players, do better in the game because they can get better equipment or better characters.
That's where
or
Hearthstone
whatever.
comes in.
Well, the one thing that is getting a lot of controversy, and a lot of people want it, and a lot of people don't want it, is the experience boost for World of Warcraft. With the new expansion coming out, you're instantly getting your level 90 or whatever. And people don't want to do that trek from level 1 to 90 anymore because it's older content and they want to go straight to the new stuff. So a lot of people have been on the edge of like, should we implement this experience thing that people can buy?
Pay to boost well, they have the pay to boost your character to level 90. Like they're actually spitballing the idea about whether or not.
But it hasn't been confirmed yet, has it?
No, it hasn't been confirmed.
No.
But a lot of people are speculating.
But that's like another microtransaction, right? So
yeah, it is a microtransaction.
I feel like that would actually be a good idea because then they would bring in a lot of new players because I remember if you playing for the first time, you're playing with somebody who's several levels higher than you, maybe dozens of levels higher than you, and you start at level 1 and you don't know what to do, and it takes you a really long time to get anything done, and it just your friends who have these high level characters have to kind of just walk you through it and wait around. Like, okay, now we can finally play together after days of leveling. And in this case, like it would allow you to play with people who have high level characters already right away, and like you wouldn't have to wait to get to the content that you bought the game for. Like
I understand like why they're doing it and everything, but I still think like to be able to boost a character to level 90, you should be able you have to level a character level 90 first. So if you were to buy Warlords of Draenor, you get a level 90, great. You can play with your friends right off the bat. But I think after that, you should have to make a character from level 1 to 90 or 1 to 80 or whatever you want it. And then you'll be able to boost another character. Because then they experience all the content, and then they're allowed to upgrade if they want. After.
Well, they originally had that with Death Knights, right? Where you had to get to a certain level, then you unlock their hero class, and then you could make a Death Knight. But they actually recently, I don't know if it was recently, or it was at the beginning of the newest expansion, where they just let you skip that. You didn't have to get to level 55 to play the class. Like you just instantly get to make one, and you get to have as many as you want on any server. So
yeah.
Even with that, you're skipping all the way up to the first expansion. Like you missed the entire base game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
with
I mean,
Death Knight.
I get the idea of World of Warcraft being a social game, so it's like you want to be able to play with your friends right away. But I mean, if you are missing out a lot of the content, I don't really see the point in getting it all.
Well, even now with like Cataclysm came out, it revamped the old world, whatever. There's a lot of content I haven't even seen. I didn't even see a lot of the old content.
But the thing is, as a World of Warcraft player, I've thought about making a new character, and I just don't want to do it because it's boring now. Because I've done it a million times. Even with the Cataclysm change, they did change a lot, but it still felt like the same thing. There was a few more interesting quests, but I don't want to go through and do that all over again. That's boring. They already have the recruit a friend system where, you wait for the game to go on sale. You get the battle chest for $5. You get a friend to do the recruit a friend with you. You get 300% increased experience points. So you just skip through all the content already.
Is that what you guys were doing that one day in a Skype call? You guys were like planning out. It's like, okay, give me that $5. I'll give you this, and I was like, what the hell? Are you guys selling weed?
Well, that's the thing. Like, it technically
a little more
exists.
addicting. It's a little more
addicting.
Like the XP boost already exists, but it should exist to players who have experienced all the content already. I don't think that like a brand new player playing the game. Oh yeah, sure. I'll let them have a free level 90 so they can play with their friends. Yeah, whatever. But I still think they should experience that before they're able to buy.
Can you think of a game that has done microtransactions in a way that you liked?
World of Warcraft.
You did it?
Yeah,
so
basically. Right. I think Hearthstone's does it fine. League of Legends even.
Really?
League of Legends is like, oh,
does Hearthstone do it fine?
I've
heard mixed opinions about Hearthstone, where some people say that the fact that you can buy the cards makes people feel like they are outmatched a lot when they don't have money because it takes them a while to learn how to play. But there are other people who say like, oh, a lot of the best players don't even buy cards, like they just play right through. But
that's because
like if someone's a casual player, like they're just coming in to play a little bit. If they're losing a lot and they're like, oh, maybe I just don't have the right cards, Like
That's the thing.
maybe deck building has something to do with it.
When I first started Hearthstone, I instantly bought 40 packs. That's just how I went. I've only bought, I think, 10 packs after that. So I bought a total of 50 packs. I don't even have anywhere close to all the cards.
Well,
Um, and some of the best decks are just built off basic cards that you don't even really need to pay for.
it is true that buying packs can give you an advantage, but it's also true that there's one specific guy who plays Hearthstone. He streams. He goes by Reynad. He has coined out this specific Warrior Rush deck that he has gotten all the way from the lowest rank 25 all the way up to Legendary with it, and it only has, I think, 6 cards that maybe cost 600 or so dust, like, total. So it's not an expensive deck. You can actually do really well with just the basic cards that they give you. You know, you might need a couple extra cards that you'll get from packs that you can get without even paying a cent for. But it's actually been proven that you don't need to pay anything to actually have a good deck. But it is intimidating for a new player to go into a game and then immediately this person throws out 4 legendary cards. Like, that's going to really overwhelm you, because you're going to think that, well, this guy obviously has a better deck than me, so there's no way I can beat him. But it is true that if you have the right amount of skill and you have a good deck building formula,
And a little bit of luck.
you can actually really, really well without ever having to spend a dime.
I guess it's kind of there is that sense in a lot of card games, but yeah, I've seen that to be the problem in almost every trading card game, like Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh or anything like that. You always have to have money to play well, because if you go to a tournament, like, no matter how much skill you have, if someone's bought really good cards, it's really hard to beat them, because they're just basic cards that just anybody might have really don't stand a chance against, like, the special abilities that that person can play in like one turn.
There's the arena, right?
But to get to the arena, you need a win, or you need to buy
you get to play for free for the first round.
Yeah,
for the first round.
And it's only 150 gold. Like, I've been playing the arena a lot, or I did play the arena a lot. Like, you go in, you win games. Every 3 games you get 10 gold, and then you do all the quests, and you get 150 gold in no time. Like,
that was mostly what I did as like a way to practice, like, playing a bunch of different decks, because I couldn't really win otherwise. I won if I was in the arena, but I wouldn't win really if I was in constructed in like the regular mode, because I don't know, I just didn't know what to do with the basic cards, and like the people I played with always had different cards than me, and I was like, I don't know how to do this. So I always went in with, like, random and drafting. Usually it's kind of the funnest way I find to play any card game, because both you and your opponent are at equal playing field, where you don't know what you're going to get, and the skill comes in deck building and how you approach the game with that deck. Really, that's about it.
That's why I like arena.
Yeah.
I also like constructed, but
I like it. It's just I
vastly prefer constructed.
I'm not as good at it.
I don't like arena.
I prefer arena a lot.
He doesn't like the
I'm
random.
the complete opposite.
Well, about the microtransactions and about what you said, Ryan, you said you preferred League of Legends style microtransactions. I'd actually say I don't like it all that much, because I don't like the model of paying for characters or grinding for XP to do that. Because technically, yes, it's completely free, but in order to get all the content for that game, you need to be really dedicated. You actually, I think I remember reading up that the amount of time it takes to actually get all the to get enough experience to get all the characters in League of Legends would be close to like a year of non-stop playing.
That sounds worth it.
Yeah, I can see your
subtract a year of your lifetime to get all of League of Legends.
But
and then you also have to take okay, I can understand that dedicated players wouldn't have much of a problem with this. They would get it done. They would at least get like most of the characters they would ever want to play as within the first month or two. But for people who like to play the game casually, then they're pretty much stuck to whatever characters they could get in rotation. And I honestly don't think that's all that great.
Well, You would actually be surprised, like, how fast, like, after a game or two, like, if you play one game a day, you get quite a bit of
You
prize
don't
points
play
or
one game.
IP. Yeah, well, I don't, but
No one
then again,
does.
I'm not really.
I do. I did, actually. I only played one game a day before I just got bored. I got my win of the day, and then I was done. I didn't want to play anymore.
It's
Yeah, and for a lot of people, it's not on like you wouldn't really get enough time to like unlock say every character, and you don't really need to unlock every character, but if you really want to know what characters you like playing as, then having them all like lock doesn't really. It just seems like an incentive to just not play, honestly. And when you compare
yeah.
it to games like other like say games with unlockable characters like say Street Fighter or other fighting games, you usually don't really take that long to unlock all the characters. Usually takes about a week or two of dedicated play, or maybe just a month of casually playing the game.
I'm not saying you're wrong, but the way I've experienced League of Legends, the way I've gone in League of Legends is it had free characters when I started. I played those free characters I think it's 2 week rotation.
No, it's
Um
every 1 week.
every 1 week. So I played that character. I played it quite a bit. Ended up liking the character. By the time the week was over, I ended up buying the character with the free IP that I got. So I had a character that I enjoyed, and then the next week of characters came by. There was another character that I enjoyed, so I or another free character that I enjoyed. After that week, I ended up buying it because I had enough IP. So that's kind of the way I started
Have
going
you
into it.
spent any physical money?
I have spent physical money. I think I've only bought 2 champions with real money, and the rest has all been either skins or.
How much would you say roughly? Because I know you have to buy it with the in-game currency that you
I've
buy, but how much would you say roughly do you have to spend to get a character? Or does it depend on the character?
Well,
depends how new the character is,
it
and
depends on the character, and it depends on whether or not it's on sale.
Yeah.
Because
Oh, they put characters on
yeah,
sale?
at 2 points during the week, they'll put 3 characters at 50% off on each section. So for I think it's Monday to Friday, or it's either Tuesday to Friday, they'll have 3 characters 50% off, and then for the weekend from Friday until Monday, they'll have another 3 characters on sale for 50% off. And they do that every week, along with the 12 character. I think it's 12 characters. I don't know if they bumped it at all, which they really should with how big the roster is now. But they've always had sales and stuff. So if you have money, you don't even have to spend that much. I think it's about $10 to buy one champion at full price.
yeah.
Whereas if you wait until they're on sale and it's a character that you played and you really enjoy, then you can get the character for about $5, and then you also have left over for another character the next week.
Let me just get my calendar and I'm gonna write those dates down.
The thing about League of Legends is it's considered a casual MOBA, but you do have to
Still
dedicate
Heroes of the Storm.
you'd have to dedicate a lot of time to it. I mean, you're not gonna if you play casually, you have to be able to forfeit at least 2 hours a night to play more than 2 games. If all you have is time for 2 games, then having access to everything is kind of a little silly, in my opinion.
It does, like, I'm not gonna lie, there's a bit of grinding. Like, if you want more rune pages, you're gonna have to either pay for them or grind out for a while, because it costs the same as a new champion.
It's actually kind of interesting because it's kind of at odds with how Dota 2 is developed, or how it is, because a lot of people say has a bit more strategic depth than say League of Legends, but it presents all the characters unlockable right at the beginning. So
But
it's really weird. They have like mix match. They both mishmash different design philosophies of like say casual or dedicated games. So it's really
Heroes of
weird.
Newark does the same thing, where you
Yeah.
get every champion at the start.
that's fairly new though.
I think it's
Oh.
like a year old or something, maybe a bit longer. But it's the difference between, do you want your game to just be so casual in a free to play model? Like, it is free to play. They don't have Riot Games doesn't have anything else they can actually back up with it because that's their money. So to give everything away, it makes sense to an extent. What they really should do is champions can be free, but they need to have the grinding capability and the buying capability to buy runes and masteries and pages, or they would need to just get rid of mastery and runes, and then you would have to work towards unlocking champions. Because the way it is now, you can only buy runes with IP. But if you want to play for free, then you have to spend that IP on the champions, and then the champions cost, like, I think the quintessences,
60.
which are like the big runes that cost about 2,000 each,
Yeah.
depending on which one you want. It's going to take you 6,000 to fill out all 3 quintessence spots on just one page. And then to get, certain champions, it could cost you somewhere to 6,300 IP. So that's 300 more than just to get the 3 quintessences.
Yeah. It's all a thing to make you play the game. They want you to play so that you spend money, and
then,
even though it's free to play.
Can you define that term runes? I'm not exactly sure what that means.
So runes are these little boosts you can have for your character. Like, you'll find they're separated into 4 categories. There's seals, marks, glyphs, and quintessences. You have 9 glyphs, seals, and marks, and 3 quintessences. And what they're designed to do is they're designed to boost your character's stats. Like, you can get increased armor for your character, you can have increased health, you can have increased speed, armor penetration, lifesteal, and all that kind of thing. What it's meant to do is it's meant to give your character an edge in the early part of the portion of the game, so that they can actually play against what they're going up against with their opponents. Like, if you're playing a character who is melee ranged, and they're going against someone who has a lot of range damage, specifically, just like ranged attacks, then you're going to want to invest yourself in some armor, maybe magic resistance if they do a lot of magic damage, because that will let you actually play against that person. That's what it's mostly designed for, because when it comes to the items, with something like Heroes of Newerth and Dota 2, they have a huge emphasis on lots of items that do little stat boosts. You can get little totems that give you increased health, damage, and that sort of thing. Whereas League of Legends, they have that sort of thing, but they come in like really expensive boosts.
Right. I remember listening yesterday to someone explain how in League of Legends you get upgrades or like item upgrades that are permanent to your character, whereas in Dota 2, you like every game you have to try to get to the every game you have to go and do that and take a certain path on how you're going to upgrade during that game, and that adds a whole different kind of aspect to play as opposed to in League of Legends where you kind of is that right, where you just keep improving your character, or is that something you do in every match individually as well?
That would depend on the matchup, really. In some cases, you will be doing the regular cookie cutter, you build these things because that will just marginally make your character better. But in a lot of cases, you will have to deviate from your build a bit and get different items. But that's also kind of how it's a big highlight on the difference between League of Legends and other MOBAs, is that other MOBAs will make you rely really heavily on your own skill and matchups, because you don't have the advantage of runes and masteries. Whereas in League of Legends, they give you a bit more leeway with that, where if you go against something specifically, then you already have this little boost to try and help you deal with it. Whereas, in Dota and Han, you're more relied on your items, because you don't have the early boost. You have to get certain items at the beginning, and you have to play the matchups in certain ways, or you just end up screwing yourself over.
Yeah, you have to play smart. You have to have the mechanics down rather than the little boost.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to go into some of the just general topics since we're nearing the end already?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Do any of you want to talk about any of them in particular right now? Or do we? We can start off with what you've been playing. That's an easy one.
Well, I haven't played it yet, but I'm looking really, really forward to it. And I'm
currently downloading it, right?
Well, actually, I just finished downloading it. Strike Vectors.
What is Strike Vectors?
Yeah, aerial combat. Third person. Not really third person.
Aerial combat third person.
Basically,
just like
concept.
Superman flying around.
The concept is that you have a little spaceship from what it looks like. And you can like build your own. You can put your own rockets and stuff on it. I don't know how big the customization is because I haven't played it yet. But the way that it looks, like you can speed really fast, slow down, turn into like little corridors, and it looks like it's a very interesting PvP game against other players. And I always kind of liked aerial combat, and this game really brought me in. And from what I've read, is it just came out of beta. It was in beta prior, and it was made by 4 people.
It is multiplayer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was made by 4 people, and they made the beta in about, I think they said 10 months.
The company who made it has a very funny name, Rage Quit Corporation.
Yeah. I saw.
They don't take themselves seriously. I like that.
Oh, another thing that I was actually reading about it yesterday is that all the content that they ever released, they said it's gonna be free to everyone. They just have to buy the game, which I thought was.
Oh, so like all the DLC and any
Free
improvements
DLC.
will be
Yeah.
free.
Yeah. Which
That's
I
cool.
think is excellent.
So if I edit this within the next 3 days, it's 20% off, $20 on Steam. But if not, it'll be $25.
Get on it.
I'll try.
Well, what I've been playing recently was, are we continuing with Ryan's game?
I was just gonna say that that because Ryan was because Ryan bought this game, it reminds me of the game that I wanted to buy that I told Ryan about, and he said he was excited for. So I'm wondering if I'm gonna be interested in this one too, because I don't know, Ryan. Do you remember the game I showed you a while back called God Factory?
Yeah, God Factory. Yeah.
It was also like a spaceship shooter where you had
Oculus Rift.
That was one of their stretch goals if they reached it on their Kickstarter, but they didn't get kickstarted. They did get greenlit though, and so it's supposed to be on Steam at some point, and it's supposed to like also be kind of like third person spaceship shooter where you can customize your ships and you're like in team battles trying to attack your opponent's motherships and stuff like that. And the way that you could customize everything and the way that the game looked, especially with the fact that if that game was Oculus Rift supported, I thought it would be like the most amazing experience ever. So,
Yeah.
Do you think this game like is in the same style of that?
I would say it's a little different. God Factory. From what I remember, that was a while ago. It seems, I don't want to say less cartoony, but
This seems less cartoony, or God Factory seems less cartoony.
God Factory seems less cartoony. Like this game kind of seems like you would do barrel rolls and dodge stuff.
This Star Fox 4.
We got a new Star Fox game, everybody. All right, Shaker, go ahead.
Well,
Just wanted to know.
I
don't know a lot about God Factory though. Sorry.
What I've been playing recently was, I've been going through Morrowind again, and I've been playing some Max Payne 3, because, actually, I've been replaying the game on hard, and I realized the game is actually that's pretty difficult. It's actually really challenging, and the gameplay is actually really fun.
Max Payne 3?
Yeah, so I'm really surprised about why it wasn't as... Well, it did receive quite a bit of acclaim, but I remember it was received somewhat sourly with the fan base, I guess. And I could understand why, because people were a little bit irritated with the cutscenes because there were quite a lot of them, and a lot of times it was unskippable. So it made replaying the game a bit hard. But
it is, yeah.
Yeah, but I never really found much of a problem with it. Usually, they're just to hide the loading screens. So if your computer loads fast enough, you can just skip a lot of them. I actually got a lot of skip prompts while I was playing, so I never really found the part where I was really all that trapped with cutscenes. Not that I really skipped them to begin with, because I feel that they're pretty interesting. But the gameplay itself is actually, I think, a big upgrade from the original games, because it takes the fluidity and the bullet time from that and introduces a lot of new mechanics, like the cover system, which may be a bit out of place, but I think they implement it rather well, because the AI reacts to it really, really smart, and they flank you, or they try closing in on you instead of just letting you sit behind a wall and just shoot at them. So I feel that that was done rather well. And the bullet time I think is actually really improved, at least on hard, because in the previous games it wouldn't really scale up. Like in the harder difficulties, you would just have as much bullet time as you did in the easier difficulties. But with Max Payne 3, they made it so that bullet time is much more scarce, and you have to strategize when you're going to use it. So I
I
actually like
remember
that a lot.
seeing a lot of YouTube videos where people would just use bullet time in the weirdest situations, as if they were walking across the street and a car would be coming, and then they just use bullet time to just go right in front of the car. And it's just like all these stupid little. I was like, okay, I guess that's fun.
Well, bullet time actually really liking that game also because it is, like I said, challenging, and unlike say Max Payne 2, which is a great game, but I think bullet time is very, very, very broken in that game because it regenerates just by staying idle, which I think was a really dumb decision because in the first game it would only regenerate because by rewarding you after you kill opponents, where in Max Payne 2 it just regenerates from being idle, so it just makes it really, really easy. You can just stay in bullet time usually for most of the game. So
Yeah, that's why there's like so many remixes of people just constantly just slow-moing the entire game, and it just
Jumping.
looks so silly. Yeah, the whole game is just someone just like flying, like in different situations because they never fall to the ground.
and the other game I was playing recently was Morrowind. I'm playing it again because
Why would you
I'm
play Morrowind when you have Skyrim?
well, I found with Skyrim, I never really found that many different things to do in the game. Usually, if you play it once, you can just do pretty much everything. With
North,
Morrow,
south, east, and west.
but with Morrowind, I find it interesting because there's a lot of different paths or different quest lines that I've never really picked up in the game because of the character builds I chose and whichever quests I decide to do. Because I find that in the game, you have to be a lot more focused when you're going to do things because if you build your character all willy-nilly, you'll end up just, you know, mixing combat stats that don't work with whatever attributes you have and giving yourself skills that you don't really need to, and it just if you don't know how to build your character well, it can be a mess. But if you build them well, then you can focus really well on like different guild storylines or doing side quests for certain areas, and it's a there's just so much content in the game
I
that
feel like there's a lot more depth to it.
yeah, there's a lot more depth in the gameplay, and it has a lot more content than say Skyrim has that I enjoyed at least. I feel that a lot of Skyrim's content is actually rather shallow in comparison, especially their guilds. I never really found a guild that was worth joining besides the Thieves Guild, and even then it was rather disappointing, honestly. Like, just complete a few quests and then you're the leader of the guild.
Spoilers.
Mm.
What about you, Corey?
I may or may not have been playing Skyrim. It's just, you know, little Skyrim here and there. I downloaded a mod for it called Skyrim Redone, where
Oh,
they overhaul a bunch of the combat and the talents and all that, and just sort of they tried to make it more complicated. Well,
complicated.
not really complicated, but they tried to get rid of the oversimplification that Skyrim did and try and add a bit more depth to it. Like they went through, they did a bunch of balancing for all the races. They redid some trees. They added in a new one. They cut out trees.
They put one tree into the game. It's right to the left of you.
Just right there. The aim of the mod was to make the combat more interesting, because like Shaker said, it's pretty boring at times. And the trees themselves they're really plain. There's not much to it.
Mm.
And some are just vastly better. Like, there was no reason to ever go heavy armor.
Mm.
Because light armor, you could just spec right up the tree to just take, it could be as strong as heavy armor. You were able to block as much. Like, it was just, there was no difference between them. The only
wasn't there also one that had light armor had like wasn't there like a perk that just made it completely weightless?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But heavy armor had that too.
Oh yeah.
And there was also, I think it's the Steed Stone, where it makes it so that your armor and your weapons like weigh nothing on you. But what Skyrim Redone did is it went through, it made it so that light armor makes it so that you regenerate energy faster. You're more mobile. It won't be as strong as heavy armor, because under the heavy armor tree, it's like, someone hits you, you have a 10% chance to not stagger, or you have like 10% to deflect the blow or whatever because you're wearing heavy armor. And so what they've done is they tried to get rid of all the boring stuff where there was never a reason to ever choose one thing over another, because one was always better. That's how Skyrim was. There was always something that was just absolutely better than everything else. But with Skyrim Redone, they tried to make it so that you can actually have more interesting builds with your character.
There's a point to actually personalizing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not actually hindered by trying to do something different.
Yeah.
So did they actually implement new weapon skills, or is it just still one hand, two hand?
It is still one hand, two hand. But what it's done is it branched out all the different one hand and two handed weapons. So instead of you have sword, axe, mace. There you go. There's broadsword, short sword. What are those called? They have katanas. For two-handed, they had glaives. They had pole axes. Like, they added in a whole bunch of new weapons to the game, and it's a really compatible mod. There's a certain other mod you can download that will basically patch all the different armors and weapons you get from other mods, and it'll like boost it up, because they changed a lot of the combat. Like, weapons aren't standard, 10 damage. Like, it's been boosted to 30. They've made armor so that it's like percent reductions. So 900 armor, the maximum will reduce damage by 90%. But you're only going to get that armor if you have like the very best in the game, sort of thing, and if you spec your character right. So I've been playing with that a lot, and it's actually a much bigger improvement on what Skyrim originally was. But I mean, unfortunately, you can't get. There are some, I suppose, mods where you can sort of fix things in certain storylines, but you'll never find anything big, like to really change the stories and make anything better. But I think one of the strengths, of course, with the Elder Scrolls has always been that the modding community is really strong, and I feel like that actually makes Skyrim better, especially being a person that's so heavily interested, in aesthetics. Skyrim is just way better. But I mean, obviously, you pointed out, like, it's a lot duller. There isn't as much interesting things to do. None of the characters are as interesting, but I don't know. I never got into Morrowind or Oblivion that heavily, so.
Well, now that we're on the Elder Scrolls topic, something just came to mind. What do you guys think of the pre-order collector's edition bonus
For the Elder Scrolls Online.
for the Elder Scrolls Online?
That is a very big topic, actually. The Elder Scrolls Online has been
Next time on the Unrelated.
Do you guys want? Okay.
No, keep going.
Well, it's been going. Elder Scrolls Online has been going on for a long time, and I know you, Ryan, and Corey have been in the beta, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And from what I've heard, it's nothing really special about it right now, I guess.
Yeah.
Rather lackluster. Well, besides from the actual gameplay itself, I would. It recently actually came from a leak about the Elder Scrolls Online, the Imperial Preorder bonus, but it's officially been confirmed with a press release by Bethesda and ZeniMax Online, where there's like two different pre-order sets. There's like the standard pre-order set, I remember, where you could basically just play any race on any faction.
Which makes no sense.
Yeah, it really just kind of defeats the purpose of having factions with different races to begin with. And, well, that's not all that bad anyways. But then you have the Imperial set, which, besides from adding that bonus, they added a couple things. One of them, of course, was, I think, an exclusive ring item that would make you gain experience faster. Yeah. Coupled with the 5-day head start that people who pre-order get, it seems like something that's really weird. A lot of people, it would be really weird because I would expect a lot of people, if they get the Imperial set, the pre-order set, or even just the standard pre-order set, that they'd probably just go max level right at the beginning of the game, especially if they're very dedicated. But besides from that, the biggest thing I'd say about the pre-order bonus is that it gives you exclusive access to the Imperial race of the game. Now, in the Elder Scrolls Online, they advertised that that each faction would have its own 3 playable races, that they were all split up between different factions. But now with the set, you can just play as an Imperial on any set you want. And the worst thing about this is that it's pretty much that you're making an entire race exclusive to people who pre-order the set, and I think that's just wrong, honestly.
I was thinking, like, maybe I was gonna buy the game if they improved it at all, but now that they've done that, I'm not gonna touch that game at all.
Yeah, it seems like a big cash grab, honestly. That
in terms of complaining about microtransactions, pre-order bonuses can be pretty ugly too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially when stuff like this. This is an exclusive.
Yeah,
race.
Completely isolating like the majority of the people who are going to play the game by just only giving it to those who are like, that loyal to buy it right off the bat.
Like, there's a difference between vanity items and races. Like, the collector's edition comes with, like, you got a mud crab and you get an Imperial horse, but you get a whole race. It's a little.
It's more than it's really,
That's taking pre-orders to a level it shouldn't go to.
Exactly.
It's honestly a scumbag move. I would not support a company that does this, honestly. That just makes an entire race exclusive. And people might be saying that it's not going to be exclusive. Well, if it wasn't, then why would they make it a bonus for this pre-order set?
Yeah, exactly.
Because if they don't, then they're just pretty much screwing over anybody who buys that set. Like, if they're just basically giving false advertising because it advertises giving unique, class bonus or race bonuses, I guess.
Which is another stupid thing. If it's a racial benefit to the Imperials that gives you some sort of like PvP or PvE benefit, that almost 90% of the player base probably won't be able to ever get. It'd be stupid. It's like almost comparing it to World of Warcraft, where you have the human racial benefit.
Yeah, I'm not really worried about the racial benefits at all, from what I've already seen.
Yeah,
it really did make a difference, but I still agree that adding exclusive Imperial was stupid. But I mean, when it comes to PvE and PvP racial balance with what they've already done, it's gonna be nothing more than just an aesthetics thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, it still kind of gives an unfair thing that players never have.
I mean, unless you buy the race for $25,
Yeah.
That's kind of an ugly thing when you have to buy a game up front for like a big chunk, and then a bunch of the content is still locked out for more purchases.
I don't understand. It's a subscription game too, and they have this happening. Like, what the hell?
Pay $5 for level 10 access.
It's disgusting what companies are getting away with.
Soapbox, get Ryan a soapbox.
Do you guys want to do one more topic, or do you guys want to? We can save those for the next time and just wrap it up.
I say we've talked a good bunch about a lot of things, so I'm comfortable.
All right. So, welcome. No, that's not. Welcome to episode 3.
We're doing next episode already.
Part 2. You can buy this for $25 at our website.
You get a pre-order exclusive.
Pre-order episode 2 and get a preview of episode 3.
Aside from my terrible performance, thanks for listening. I've been your host, Phil, and thank you to all of my co-hosts and guests today, Ryan, Corey, Shaker.
Hello.
Am I a guest or a co-host?
Both, because you're a co-host.
Can I be neither?
You're just an